Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources. On today's edition of Helping Seniors TV, it's about assisted living options at Hibiscus Court, Melbourne, assisted living and memory support community. We'll join Helping Seniors TV program host and longtime senior advocate Joe Steckler as he talks about the things to look for in assisted living with Hibiscus Court Executive Director Heidi Kuchenbacker-Robbins and Associate Executive Director Ashleigh Caswell.
This is Joe Steckler, folks, and I'm really pleased to bring this show in which we're going to discuss assisted living. And before I even introduce my two panelists for the show today, I want to ask you to pay very close attention to what the two ladies that are my panelists are saying, because there are different and many different types of assisted living care facilities. And I like to refer to things as elements of care. We have daycare, assisted living care, nursing home care, in-home care. We have all kinds of things that we can mix and match. And if we're smart about how we can do the things, we can do a lot more to help families. And this is one of the things that assisted living facilities such as Hibiscus Court do. And I've known about Hibiscus Court since 1998. And as I walk through the facility today, it looks exactly like it did the day it opened. So what I'm saying to you is that the maintenance, the state of repair, and what's happened here, and even more important, the types of food that are served, the way that people are cared for, the things that we have to constantly change to fit the clientele, have all been incorporated into this assisted living facility. How was that, Heidi?
Pretty good, Joe.
Pretty good?
I think so.
Pretty good. Folks, the lady I'm talking to now is Heidi Kuchenbacker-Robbins, who is the executive director, and it's been a long time, Heidi, to get you on this TV show.
And it was worth the wait, Joe.
Well, I hope so. And the other person is Ashleigh Caswell, and Ashleigh is the director of marketing. And I had Ashleigh on our radio show, and I thought she did an extremely good job that day because you wanted to talk about how if you pay attention to your clients and you focus in on the needs of the clients, we can do a lot better job of providing total care for the whole group of people. It makes a lot of difference. But a lot of people tuning into the show, Heidi, do not know what assisted living is. So just give just a brief overview of what assisted living is, you and Ashleigh.
Well, assisted living can mean different things for different people. The laws are the same. We all have to comply with the same state of Florida laws. We still have to be licensed and certified by the Agency for Healthcare Administration. But what makes this difference is the culture we work in. The longevity of our staff, the activities we deliver, and the backbone, of course, is the care that we deliver. And our proximity to the hospital.
That was the hospital?
Virtue of our sound effects in the background.
Okay.
We are affiliated with Health First, and that is right across the hospital. We're right here by downtown. It's a tremendous location. We get to be out and about in the community because assisted living for us is not staying inside of a building, but bringing our folks to the community that they have lived in for quite some time.
Okay. Ashleigh, what else would you add to that?
It's still your own personal space. It's not like you're moving into someone else's place. You get your own apartment and your own place for your own things. So you get to make it your own home, just as it was before, but with a little bit more support if you need it.
I've always had a question about that because I know when I first started the Alzheimer's program here, the majority of our furniture came from the storeroom from Holmes Hospital. That's where we got our furniture from. Our conference room table came from them. Holmes was very generous. They donated not only money, but furniture to help us start the place. But what happens what happened? You furnish these rooms, but people can bring their own stuff in.
We actually don't furnish the rooms. They furnish the rooms.
But what happens if somebody doesn't have furniture?
People are making a life decision to move here. So they typically are coming from a location like their home. Sometimes it's a condo on the beach. They'll bring all of their fun beachy things and move them right into their apartment here. So they're just transferring their memories, the things that are important to them, to their new home at Hibiscus Court.
And 450 television shows, that's the first time I've gotten that answer.
Really?
I have never had the question answered that way. I had always assumed that when you see the model rooms that these assisted living facilities, well, some of them do furnish rooms.
We can furnish a room,
You can,
and we
we have
will
to.
furnish a room for someone. We have people that, for example, if you have a husband and wife living at home, husband has a heart attack, and maybe the wife can't take care of herself at home without his support, what are you going to do from the ER at homes? We keep a room here, a respite room, so that that particular spouse that's still at home could come here and not really skip a beat and not be in danger while their husband is recuperating.
Okay. I've got a bunch of questions here, folks, sitting in front of me, and I'll look at them once in a while. But I'm going to go completely off script right now.
Imagine that.
And the reason I'm going to go off script is because these two ladies just hit on one of the most very important and basic reasons for having the type of assisted living facility you have here at Hibiscus Court. And we're going to talk about this because I think this is one of the things that confounds and confronts aging older people as they get older. What do you do if you have a spouse that becomes incapacitated, such as what you just said, Heidi, had a heart attack, needs assisted living, but the other person can live more in a well-care environment? How do you, both of you, I want you to talk to us, how do you make it possible for a husband and wife to remain together in Hibiscus Court as long as they can do that?
Well, there's a lot of answers to that question.
I know that, that's fine. I want you to talk about
So we're
this.
going to have multiple choice here. So
Okay.
first of all, we still have regulations that we have to comply with. So in that, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So each assisted living created differently, but at the end of the day, the main point is that that facility and that community has to be able to tell a person that we can indeed meet that person's needs. So
Right.
if someone, for example, the situation we were talking about before, a husband has a heart attack, the wife has maybe a little bit of dementia, and they can't be at home by themselves, a situation occurs, someone can call us and say, hey, can you take this person on pretty short notice? There's some things we have to do. We can't shortchange them. We have to do all the same things that if you planned for 3 months to be here. But we can move that person into a room that's already furnished in respite. If that spouse gets well and goes home, then their wife could go home with them. We just need a notice. It's not a permanent lifetime commitment to be here at Hibiscus Court or any assisted living. The state of Florida requires 30 days notice to anyone that lives in assisted living.
Right.
So they can go home. If he's recovering and he goes to rehab, she can continue to live here. If then he's not so strong yet and wants to come to a place that we provide other things that he wouldn't have at home, such as your meals, care if he needed it, maybe he's not strong enough quite to go home independently, then he could move in for a short-term stay to stay with her. What is really incredible is when people get here and they find out what assisted is and isn't. Assisted living is a different experience of what most people think it is, because in fact in their life, their parents, their grandparents didn't have this opportunity. It didn't exist. Many of us came about in the late 90s when assisted living kind of hit the map. Their parents didn't have that option. It was rest homes, it was nursing homes, it was a different situation. So people are afraid of what they don't know. We encourage people to come on a tour. We encourage people to come stay for the week. We encourage people to just get in and know our folks and what we do. Because once people move in, and I can quote one of our lovely ladies that's most likely on our banner back here, is she said she moved in on a Monday, and on Friday afternoon, she looked me right in the eye and she said to me, why didn't anybody tell me this would be so much fun? and I can't make it up. They give me my lines. So we can be a lot of different things. And so once someone does move in, should that same couple, we'll just follow that couple, should that same couple's needs change, maybe she can't live with him anymore because his quality of life would be diminished because of her dementia. She can, because we have a specialty in dealing with folks with dementia, she could spend the day, for example, in our memory care community so that we create an internal day program and he can have a little bit more of a life, whether that's going out with his kids that maybe his wife can't do anymore. But it gives him the peace of mind of knowing she can come back and stay in the same room, because a lot of folks that live here have been married 50, 60, 70 years. And that's something we want to protect as long as we can. So we have couples living next door to each other. We have couples that one lives in our memory care community and one lives in an apartment. We have all sorts of different variations because we get to know our people and then we build our services around them.
Yeah. The reason I wanted Heidi to talk about this, viewer, is that one of the worst things that can happen as we grow older is for the husband and wife to be separated as they try to live together for reasons that facilities that think ahead can make happen the opposite way. In other words, they can keep them together, but it takes work, and it takes thought, and it takes planning. Now, Ashleigh, as a director of marketing, how much easier does that make your job to attract clients to come to Hibiscus Court or another facility, say it was any place else in Florida, that it was modeled the same way you all do?
It's great, because I even had a tour this morning, and the woman has lived at other assisted livings out of state, and because she has some dementia, she needed to be in memory care, but really she doesn't need memory care. She just needs reminders. You know, she gets up out of bed and forgets that she was going to go down to the dining room, so she needs reminders, but she's generally okay on her own. So being able to kind of integrate our memory care services with our, assisted living and keep people feeling very independent is very helpful. And it works with individuals or couples, and everyone's needs kind of change on a day-to-day basis potentially, and we're able to handle that.
Okay. When I came into your facility this morning, I noticed that you were pushing a lady in a wheelchair. As a director of marketing, I sense that you see your job as a marketing director, not only to be able to market this facility to outsiders to come here, but you see it as another way of causing the facilities, the people that live here, to also want to become a more fully integrated part of the thing. In other words, personal hands-on care from the marketing director.
We're all part of it. This is our community. We live here too, essentially.
But see, and Heidi, you've been in this business for a number of years, and you know that facilities that have a rapid staff changeover are not doing the things that the three of us are talking about right now. That doesn't happen. And the reason it doesn't happen is because one director is not making it happen, so management thinks they get a new director, and they keep changing and changing and changing. And you've been here since 1998.
The beginning of time. Going on 15 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So that tells something about staff. And I think one of the things that both of you wanted to talk about in setting different types of facilities apart from other facilities are staff longevity. Why is that so important?
Well, I'm going to tell you two things. Longevity is important. And for years, people have said, and Ashleigh certainly can speak to this as well, market your longevity of your people. I was speaking with someone yesterday. We've been open 19 years in August. Our driver has been driving people at Hibiscus Court for almost all those 19 years. And still smiling every day, which is amazing.
He's got to be special, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're appreciative of that. But I will tell you that the reason that we don't market that exclusively is because it isn't the only factor. Longevity gives us a base. But folks that have been here for a long time, myself included, we have to rediscover our motivation every day. New people that come in and ask us new questions and bring new ideas. Ashleigh came here 4 years ago. She brought new ideas that we didn't do or think of before. She makes me better at my job because she has a different perspective. So it's the combination of that longevity and that stability with the new staff that gives us the motivation and the energy to make it new every day.
And this is one of the things that helps me that when I do these types of shows, because as you well know, my last job in the Navy, I had command of the Navy's retirement home, and I took care of, imagine it, 550 people, and their average age was 77. I had well rooms, I had assisted living, I had a 57-bed assisted care floor, and we had a hospital with 4 wings, and some of the people in the hospital were permanent live-ins in the hospital because they were too frail to live in any place else. Sure. Mm-hmm. They were too frail to even live on the assisted living care floor. Mm-hmm. So I learned that one of the most successful of our assisted living facilities were those that got the people out of their rooms and got to engage in activities, and that the activities were something that were a challenge to a majority of the people, not just a very few. And as we came up to this room to tape, I noticed there was another room that had at first glance, I would say there were roughly 15 people. What were they having, an exercise class?
Yeah, because it was exercise class. We have daily fitness class. Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe, as you age, and none of us are doing that, of course, it's harder to get motivated. Maybe your spouse is gone. Maybe your neighbors are gone. Maybe most of your friends have died. It is really hard to get out of 4 walls, whether it's your house on the ocean or an apartment at Hibiscus Court. Part of our job is being excited about what we do. So our first rule of thumb for every new employee, for every family member, for every resident that moves in, is that our residents come first. It is a mantra that I go over and over and over. It's no big secret, but it's what brings us back to reality and refocuses us. So at the end of, for example, for associates that work here, at the end of 90 days, my rule, my goal, my measure is if I wouldn't leave you with my parent, I won't leave you with someone else. And last year I got to test that with my own father. And I can tell you it gave me an even newer, wiser, incredible experience at this place because it's home.
I know your mother, but has your mother ever stayed here?
Oh, my mom stayed here. Oh, yes, because we all stay here during a hurricane. So we have quite bonding experiences. We have dogs, we have birds, we have moms, we have dads. You name it, we have it. We have children, we have, yes.
So you took the families in here during the hurricane?
We do not take families. We take our staff that have to be here. We had children helping us in the dining room, which was incredible because it's a stressful time. Again, if we are stressed, they are stressed. Yeah. If we're excited, they're excited. So when our server brought her son, who was quite a lovely gentleman, it motivated them. It gave them something different to focus on than a scary storm. At 2:00 in the morning, we had neon bracelets and necklaces, and we had a disco dance party because at 2:00 in the morning it was scary, and we were trying to break that fear with something. We'll call it an activity. We call it a lifeline because it helped all of us.
Well, I know another thing that you like to talk about, Ashleigh, and I use the word socialization, and mm-hmm. My wife, as we came into the facility today, she asked a gentleman who was out front, "Is this where the party is?" And
he said yes, right?
Kind of appropriate.
But I really think that you like to use that word interchangeably, socialization and parties. Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah, because parties are all about gathering together and having fun. We like to throw big parties and little parties. Coming up in May, we have our annual senior prom, which we go all out for. Rent a limo, and we have volunteers in tuxes and gowns come dance with our residents. And we just have a full grand senior prom, and things like that are important because we work on it the whole week, and we talk about it, and we get everyone excited. And some people help us on prom committee, and some people just watch from afar and enjoy the festivities. But it's opportunities for residents to interact with each other and have something to talk about.
In trying to get your residents to socialize, do you find that some are more of a challenge than others? And if so, how do you go about overcoming the challenge?
Well, everyone's personality is different. So,
I have a saying that I use all the time, that leopards don't change their spots. They just get more well-defined. So, I also tell residents when they come in here, we only let nice people come live here because often if you expect it, you get it. And I'll tell you the other thing, as we age, we all know that what doesn't work as well, the shoulder that doesn't quite throw the ball the way it used to, getting up and down out of a chair, used to pop out of a chair, now it's a little bit slower. As we age, those things are more predominant. What we hear all the time are all the things we cannot do. You can't cook on the stove because you might burn something. You can't drive the car because you might be unsafe. You can't take a shower because you might fall. And if we think about that and what we do to older people by telling them we can't is very, it's not a wonder to me that we have people with depression issues, because all your friends are gone, your family's gone, your spouse is gone, your abilities are leaving you, and that's all we tell you is the things that you can't do. When you come to Hibiscus Court, what we want you to understand when you make a life change to move to assisted living is that we want to focus on what you can do. We want, it's like you win the lottery. If you won the lottery, any of us, what would we want? We want a big house. Our house has lots of rooms. We serve almost 80 people. It's a big house. You'd like a chauffeur. Our chauffeur's been chauffeuring for 19 years. You'd want your own chef. We have a chef. We serve 3 meals a day. You can invite your friends in for meals. And then if you need extra care, that's personal, it's private, it's behind your door, so that nobody knows if you needed help getting out of bed that morning. They just know that when you show up at the next party, the next event, the next greeting a family member, that you look like $1 million.
Okay, since you are a multi-story facility, the residents live on the second and third floors now?
They live on the first, second, and third floors.
Yeah, what now?
All floors.
All floors?
All floors. Yeah.
All floors. What kind of programs do you have in place to, for the lack of a better word, to ensure the safety of the residents? How do you do that? How do you check rooms, or what do you do?
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you say safety, there's just so many things. I mean, we just talked about a hurricane. We stay here as long as we can, and the county does. If they were to tell us that we needed to leave, we are a hurricane-safe building. But if we should leave, we have plans in place for those things to happen. If there's a fire, there are plans in place. If those things happen, we do drills. We have programs set up to be able to deal with that. If there's a flood, we deal with that. I mean, we have to, but all assisted livings have to have a disaster plan in place. And we communicate that and teach that to our residents as well as our staff.
Well, let's say, since you have multi-floors, in the event do you practice fire drills?
We absolutely do.
How do you do that?
Very carefully. In our building is pretty easy. We're divided by an elevator, and if you're on the right side of the building, you go right. If you're on the left side of the building, you go left. So it's not rocket science. And unfortunately, we had the wonderful pleasure of having a fire back in 2009, where we safely evacuated everyone in 10 minutes of the building. And in fact, we're a study site for the National Federal Emergency Management Team.
That's amazing.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because of the in any situation, it's the aftermath of something. So surviving something is one thing. Since
you've been in the assisted living facility for a number of years, Ashleigh is sort of new to it in terms of how long she's been the director of marketing. How do you help people decide when it's time to leave where they are, Ashleigh, and move into a place like Hibiscus Court? How do you do that?
Well, if you're tired of cooking or cleaning, or could just benefit from a little support, assisted living is a great option, because we we can, you can be completely independent, and we can just, provide 3 meals a day, and you can still go about your, your normal daily routine. And people who come in a little bit more able-bodied, generally, they're able to enjoy assisted living a lot longer. They get a whole lot more senior proms and annual dog day parades.
And if you like living on a cruise ship, come to Hibiscus Court, because that's our goal.
Do you have cruises? You take people on
We
cruises?
actually do a whole cruise week where we take people on a cruise in the building.
Yeah.
Oh, in the
all
building.
week.
We transform the whole building all week. Uh-huh.
Different ports of call.
You just mentioned a buzzword there, independent living. You have people here that live here that still drive their cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
You have people that live here that can no longer drive their cars.
Yes.
You also have a 20-person impaired memory care unit too.
We do serve people in memory care, yes.
So you can cover at Hibiscus Court every range of living that people want to maintain. If they're just tired of taking care of their house, if they want to downsize and live in the smaller quarters and still have the leisure of travel, it can still do that by living here.
Absolutely.
We are just about out of time. What was the last thing that you might want to say, Heidi?
I'm glad that we were able to do this, Joe.
You're glad that you're able
Finally.
to do it. I am glad too. But we have so many things on our list that we really did not get to talk about. We will do next month, part 2 addition to the Hibiscus
Sounds
Court
good.
story.
Okay.
Because I find this, when you get into it, there are so many more things that we need to talk. We talk about the amenities, the support, the fact that you have nurses on call 24 hours a day. But we're out of time, and I want to thank you both for being here. And thank you,
Joe.
viewer, for watching the show.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.